A royal car takes a wrong turn. A teenage boy steps forward. 2 gunshots ring out, and the world will never be the same. But wait, how did one moment in a small European city lead to a war involving 30 countries across the globe? Let's rewind the clock to uncover the real story behind the start of World War I and what it has to do with secret deals, angry empires, and the quest for money and power. You know that old saying, there are 2 sides to every story. Well, in World War I, there were definitely 2 main sides, and things got complicated fast. Think of it like choosing teams for the ultimate high-stakes game of global dodgeball. On one side, we had the Central Powers, on the other, the Allies. But how did everyone end up on their respective teams? It wasn't random. It was built on years of simmering tension and some seriously complex, often secret agreements. Okay, maybe secret isn't the best word, but these treaties were definitely exclusive clubs. Germany felt like Britain and France were hogging all the cool global real estate, you know, colonies everywhere from Africa to the Caribbean. It was like they had the monopoly on international markets. To protect their interests and maybe get a piece of the pie, Germany, Austria-Hungary, and Italy formed a defensive pact. They basically said, hey, if anyone messes with one of us, we've got each other's backs. History calls this the Triple Alliance. Italy's commitment was flexible, as we'll see. Not to be outdone, Britain, France, and Russia decided they needed their own buddy system. They also signed treaties agreeing to support each other. This group became known as the Triple Entente. So, Europe was essentially split into 2 major armed camps, bound by promises of mutual defense. What could possibly go wrong? Imagine Europe in 1914. It was a continent of empires, rivalries, and nationalistic fervor. Everyone was feeling pretty proud of themselves and maybe a little nervous about their neighbors. The Balkan region, in particular, was a hot mess. It was like a historical pressure cooker. Small countries were gaining independence from the declining Ottoman Empire, but borders and allegiances were constantly shifting. Serbia was one such newly independent nation, but many ethnic Serbs still lived under the rule of the Austro-Hungarian Empire in Bosnia and Herzegovina. These Serbs dreamed of uniting with Serbia, which Austria-Hungary absolutely did not want. Tensions were higher than a kite in a hurricane. Fast forward to June 1914. The Archduke Franz Ferdinand, heir to the Austro-Hungarian throne, decided it would be a great idea to visit Sarajevo, the capital of Bosnia. In hindsight, maybe not the best travel plan given the local mood. While his motorcade was driving through the streets, a bomb was thrown. It missed the Archduke but injured others. Talk about a rocky start to a state visit. Later that day, after visiting the injured, the Archduke's car took a wrong turn. Seriously, a wrong turn. And who should be standing right there? Gavrilo Princip, a young Serbian nationalist who was part of a group plotting against Austrian rule. Princip seized the moment. He shot and killed the Archduke and his wife, Sophie. This wasn't just a tragic crime. It was the match dropped into that Balkan powder cake we talked about. Austria-Hungary was furious, and they saw this assassination as their excuse. They wanted to punish Serbia and bring it under their control. But they were nervous about Russia, which saw itself as the protector of Slavic nations like Serbia. So, Austria-Hungary checked with their big buddy Germany. Germany gave them the green light, essentially saying, go for it. And if Russia gets involved, we've got your back. This was Germany's infamous blank check. Less than a month after the assassination, Austria-Hungary declared war on Serbia. Just as predicted, Russia mobilized its army to support Serbia. This brought Germany into the picture, declaring war on Russia. Because of their treaty with Russia, France began to mobilize. Germany, anticipating this, declared war on France. Then, when Germany invaded neutral Belgium to attack France, Britain, bound by treaty to protect Belgium and allied with France and Russia, declared war on Germany. The dominoes had fallen. The Great War had begun. So, was it just the assassination and the treaties? Those were definitely the triggers, but the roots ran deeper. The alliance system meant a local conflict rapidly escalated into a continental one. It was like a chain reaction where everyone was obligated to jump in. But beyond the treaties, other factors were pushing nations towards war. Nationalism made people fiercely loyal to their own country and suspicious of others. Militarism meant countries had huge armies and navies and were ready, even eager, to use them. Imperialism, the competition for colonies and global power, was a massive underlying tension. And then there's the economic angle, which some historians argue was the real driving force. Let's talk money, because money often makes the world go round, sometimes right into a war. Germany was a rapidly industrializing powerhouse. They were making tons of stuff, but they needed markets to sell it. Britain and France, with their vast colonial empires, had built-in customers. They could sell their goods to India, Africa, and countless other territories they controlled. And they weren't exactly keen on letting Germany muscle in on their trade routes or colonial markets. Germany and Austria-Hungary felt boxed in, lacking the colonial markets of their rivals. They needed access to international trade to keep their economies booming. This economic rivalry, the struggle for markets and resources, created a deep-seated tension that made conflicts seem almost inevitable to some. It wasn't just about flags on a map. It was about factories and trade routes. So, who ended up on which team? The Central Powers initially included Germany and Austria-Hungary, later joined by the Ottoman Empire, Turkey, and Bulgaria. The Allies were a much larger and growing team. It started with Britain, France, and Russia. They were joined by Serbia, Belgium, Italy, who switched sides, Japan, Greece, Portugal, Romania, and eventually, in 1917, the United States. Colonies of these nations, like those in Africa and India, also contributed troops and resources, making it truly a world war. Some countries managed to stay out of the initial mess, remaining neutral. This included nations like Spain, Switzerland, the Netherlands, and the Scandinavian countries. They probably breathed a collective sigh of relief. After 4 brutal years, the war finally ended. When US President Woodrow Wilson presented his plan for peace, the 14 points, he specifically addressed some of the root causes. 2 key points: no more secret treaties and freedom of navigation and trade for everyone. Unfortunately, not all of Wilson's points made it into the final peace treaty, the Treaty of Versailles. The issues of secret agreements and trade barriers weren't fully resolved, leaving seeds for future conflicts. History, it seems, doesn't always learn its lessons the first time around. Understanding the start of World War I is crucial to understanding the entire 20th century. It wasn't just one thing. It was a complex mix of alliances, nationalism, imperialism, militarism, and economic rivalry, all ignited by a single spark. If you found this dive into the causes of World War I helpful or even slightly amusing, please give this video a thumbs up. What surprised you most about how the war started? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe for more history deep dives and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next video. And thank you so much for watching.